Welcome to the Life Beyond Bounds podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Herdwalker. On this podcast, I give advice and insights that help you go beyond your comfort zone to embrace life as your greatest adventure, beyond geographical boundaries to explore the world without limits, beyond the confines of the norm to live life on your terms, and even beyond your current limits to unlock a life that is bold, adventurous, and genuinely fulfilling. Together, let's create your life beyond bounds. Welcome back to the Life Beyond Bounds podcast. Hopefully, I've lit a fire in you about how important it is to shift from an ego-led life to following the pull of your soul. In my last episode, when I talked about the two forces or voices that play into your decision-making and ultimately create the quality of your life, which are the soul and the ego, and how allowing your soul to lead over your ego leads to a completely different life, one that is genuinely fulfilling and makes you feel truly alive. If you missed the last episode, definitely go back and listen to that first and then come back to this one. Today, I'm going to get more practical and help you start making that shift. We're going to talk about what it takes to move away from the ego's grip into a more soul-led way of living life without being reckless or throwing all caution to the wind. Shifting to a soul-led life is not about impulsively throwing away all the structures of your life and acting irresponsibly. It's about changing your guiding principle and making conscious choices to honor that. It's changing how you make your decisions. Think of it as reorienting your internal compass from keep me safe to lead me to meaning and purpose and fulfillment. Then taking practical steps in that direction. Here are some ways to start that shift gradually and confidently. First, all change begins with self-awareness. Begin tuning into your inner dialogue in daily situations. When you face a decision, big or small, pause and then listen to both voices. For example, let's say you get an invite to an event that could be a great networking opportunity for you, for this dream business that you want to create, whatever it might be. You might hear your ego say, stay home, you'll just embarrass yourself, you don't belong there. And maybe a quieter feeling says, it could be really interesting. You might meet somebody inspiring. You should go. Practice identifying this. This is your ego and your soul. You can even jot these down in a journal to see the pattern. So often your ego sounds like fear, guilt, or shoulds, while your soul sounds like excitement, peace, curiosity, or a deep desire. If the voice is calm and clear, hopeful, curious, even if firm, it's likely your intuition, which is your heart, gut, which is connected to your soul. If the voice is anxious, urgent, or whiny, it's likely your ego. You can also imagine pulling the trigger on something that you've been dreaming about, something that you know is soul-led. Starting a business, homeschooling your kids for a year to travel the world, whatever it is that you know you really have been wanting to do. Once we decide to go all in on that thing, our ego flares up pretty quickly with the what ifs that will try to stop you. So this is a good way to start to listen to what that voice sounds like so that you can decide to not listen to it. Then strengthening your connection to your intuition, heart, gut, soul by getting curious about those nudges that you feel, those whispers for more. In our busy, stimulus-filled lives, we have to create moments to tune in. So that might be through reflection or mindfulness practices, whatever suits you. Consider setting aside even 10 minutes a day to sit in silence, meditate, journal freely about whatever you truly want. Some people connect with their soul by being in nature or doing something creative like painting, dancing, listening to music, where the mind relaxes and the heart speaks. Find what works for you and make that a routine to start to tune in more often. When you're journaling, a helpful exercise is to literally catalog on paper between your ego and your soul. So write down a fear or limiting belief that comes up, like, I can't start a business now because I've already worked my way up in my career and I should just stick it out for 8 more years and then retire. for example. Then ask yourself, what does my wiser self or my heart or my soul or whatever you want to call it, you can even give that side of you a name, what does this other side of you have to say about this? And then write whatever comes up. So you might be surprised, often a very compassionate and bold perspective flows out. And then that's your soul, right? Over time, these practices strengthen your intuition and you'll start to get clearer signals. So I personally find that when I neglect that quiet reflection time or that creative time or whatever it is that fuels me, I feel more lost or fearful. And when I prioritize it, I'm more centered, confident, make bolder, aligned decisions. So treat it like going to the gym for your spirit, and those regular workouts will make you stronger. Next is to reframe fear and setbacks. So part of shifting to a soul-led life is changing how you relate to fear and failures. We've touched on reframing fear as a sign of significance. If I'm scared of it, it probably means a lot to me and can lead to growth. It also helps to accept that if you follow your soul by doing things outside of your comfort zone, you will occasionally stumble, and that's okay. Not every risk will pay off the way that you expect, but you will either win or you will grow, which is still winning because it's getting you closer to your destination, to that thing that you're aspiring to. Adopting a growth mindset is key. Every experience is valuable for your development. Building up resilience makes the ego quieter over time. It loses its power when you're not afraid of a setback because you know you can recover and learn and grow from there. That segues nicely into my next tip, which is not to take yourself too seriously. We have the potential to think that everything we do is life or death and that we'll be judged or embarrassed to the point of being ostracized. And usually the real result of going after your dreams is that you achieve them. But if you don't, you'll course correct by making your next best decision. And honestly, nothing really bad usually happens. So approach life with a sense of playfulness, optimism, and a willingness to explore new ideas. By letting go of rigid expectations and taking things less seriously, you can unlock greater creativity and potential. My next best advice is to find support. When you are letting your soul lead and working toward turning your aspirations into reality, some of the best advice I can give you is to find a mentor who has done the things that you want to do or is in the arena that you want to be in. Not only will they help you with making necessary perspective shifts and providing support or advice, but they'll also help you by tapping into their knowledge, which will help you shortcut the gap from where you are to where you want to be. Working with a mentor or a coach means not taking such a big risk by trying to figure it all out on your own. It's also incredibly helpful to have supportive people in your life who expand your beliefs around what's possible. So choose someone who truly believes in what you are trying to achieve or create for your life. When most people around you are playing life safe, in their comfort zone, which most people are, afraid to step out and take risks or lack belief in what's possible, it can feel lonely or even crazy to break the mold. In fact, those people won't hesitate to tell you how crazy you actually are, right? But when you connect with others on a similar journey who are living a soul-led life, it normalizes the fears and triumphs that you're experiencing. You realize this is all part of living life fully. Seeing examples of soul-led living, so people who've started businesses or pursued unconventional lifestyles like world schooling their kids, moving abroad, traveling full-time in an RV, etc., can help you see that none of this is out of reach for you. If they can do it, meaning if I can do it, then you can too. Also consider reading books or listening to podcasts like this one that fuel your courageous side. Basically, feed your mind with positivity and possibility. And don't hesitate to hire a coach for more structured support to take you from where you are now to where you want to be. Someone who can gently call out your ego's BS and remind you of your soul's calling when you forget or get off track. Accountability and guidance can fast track your transformation. Next is to take calculated risks. Here's where we ensure you're not being reckless. Being soul-led doesn't mean saying, the heck with planning, I'll just follow my heart blindly. You want to partner your soul's desires with your mind's practical abilities. It's a balance between soul and strategy or practicality. Think of it like this. Let the soul set the destination and let the mind or the ego help with the navigation in service of that goal. When we decided to travel full-time as a family, my soul provided that vision and the why behind that vision, the freedom, the adventure, the family time and greater bond and connection, the growth. And then I engaged my practical side to mitigate the risks, right? Doing the research ahead of time, making sure that we were financially set up for this, all of those things. So when your ego is not in the driver's seat, but rather just a sidekick navigator helping you to your destination, it is a safer, less risky way of approaching going after your bigger aspirations. That way, the ego feels acknowledged, and then you handle legitimate concerns in a thoughtful way without abandoning that soul's directive. For someone wanting to travel and world school your kids, this could look like, you wouldn't just quit your job abruptly with no savings. Instead, you might build a financial cushion over 6 months or start a new side gig part-time online until it can sustain you, right? So this approach proves that soul-led doesn't equal irresponsible. It's bold, but it's also smart. It's listening to your heart and taking your brain along for the ride as an advisor, just not the boss. This balanced approach helps soothe the ego's fear as well, making it a little less loud with all the doubts and fears. And last but not least, this is so important. Commit to courageous, aligned action, big or small. Ultimately, nothing changes if nothing changes. If you want something different than you have now, you have to do something different than you are doing now. And only you will know how big of a leap you're prepared to take in shifting from an ego-led life to a soul-led life. For some of you, you're at the crossroads where you have thought about doing something different for long enough. You have thoroughly researched it. You've weighed up the risks versus the rewards. And now you're realizing the only thing holding you back is your ego. Then maybe your next step is bold, and it's to let go of the ledge and leap. But it doesn't have to be that way. So you don't have to take a giant leap all at once. In fact, I would say please don't if it's going to send your life into chaos or increase fear. Instead, start with small steps outside of your comfort zone to build evidence that following your soul is rewarding. For instance, if your soul is nudging you towards starting a business, start by making a connection to someone who coaches on how to start a business, or interviewing someone who is already in the arena that you want to be in. If it's nudging you to travel full-time, maybe book a month or two somewhere first and test the waters. Taking aligned action serves two purposes. So first, it's going to show your ego that the world doesn't end when you step beyond your comfort zone. In fact, good things usually happen, which begins to retrain your mind to not overreact so much and trust yourself more. And then second, it gives you clarity and momentum, which comes from taking action. The more action you take, the more you believe in what's possible, which fuels momentum, which fuels action, which fuels belief. It's a triangle of possibility. Taking aligned action, however small, often leads to the next insight or opportunity, or helps you refine your vision and keeps you moving on the path that you are meant to go down. For example, one of my coaching clients wanted to start her own business, but was paralyzed by fear and failure. And so we broke it down and decided that her first aligned action was to attend her local Chamber of Commerce meetup and tell people she met at the chamber meeting, tell them her plans. Speaking your dreams into existence is so important because this is where magic starts to happen and the universe can start to help you, which I'm going to talk about more on a future episode because that is a really important piece of it. She left that meeting so energized. She met positive, smart people who had suggestions that further supported her idea. That one small act made the next step, which is, I can't remember exactly what the next step was, but say writing a business plan, feel more doable. Now, 2 years later, she's running her own business online and traveling much more often with her family, which was her goal. And it started with one decision to listen to her soul over her ego, to get into the arena that she wanted to be in and speak her dreams into the universe. It's the courage to take the first small aligned action and then the next and then the next that leads to living a soul-led life. By approaching turning your aspirations into reality that way, you build up your confidence in your belief and you begin to quiet your ego. So, create a habit of saying yes to those nudges that you feel from your soul in little ways frequently. And over time, you'll likely start taking bigger and bigger actions as your belief and your momentum build. And sometimes the universe meets you halfway. When you commit to your authentic path, resources and opportunities tend to appear. And I've seen this time and time again. It's almost uncanny, but I believe that life rewards alignment. But you have to take the first step to signal that you're serious. Your soul wants you to live fully. It wants you to dream and take calculated risks to turn your aspirations into your reality. It wants you to be genuinely fulfilled, and it knows the path to take you there. But you have to drown out the noise and begin trusting it. When you let that voice lead, your ego is going to try its hardest to keep you small and safe because that's its job. But remember that you've done new things before. Going to college in another state where you knew no one, taking a job in a different city, studying abroad for a semester, whatever it was, those things probably all felt scary until they became your new norm. And the same is true with whatever it is that you're feeling pulled toward right now. It too will become your new norm. The fact that you've listened to this entire episode tells me that you are on the edge of a major pivotal moment in your life, and I find that really exciting. But before you make any big life changes, be sure to listen to my next episode where I help you determine if what you're actually feeling is the pull of your soul, or if you have grass is greener syndrome. This is an important distinction to understand because you want to make sure you aren't running from something, but instead are intentionally running toward the life you're really meant for. Thank you so much for joining me today. Life is our greatest adventure, and it's an honor to be part of your journey.